On April 2nd, 2025, a tragic incident unfolded at a high school track meet in Frisco, Texas. What began as a routine athletic event quickly turned into a fatal confrontation that left 17-year-old Austin Metcalf dead and another teenager, Carmelo Anthony, facing a first-degree murder charge. The case has sparked widespread attention and, of course, captivated the YouTube universe, including the man, the myth, the legend, CLR Bruce Rivers.
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And what he do? And he's gonna react to all the self-snitch.
Over the course of several videos, Bruce Rivers has made several claims, some of which I agree with, and some that I don't exactly. But who am I? Hey, I'm America's attorney. I've been a lawyer for over 20 years. I've helped over 160,000 people. And today, I'm gonna be taking a look at some of Bruce Rivers' boldest statements regarding the Frisco stabbing, and I'm gonna be giving you my take. Let's jump in. First of all, I'm just like you. I love Bruce Rivers. So today, we're going to honor him by wearing this hat that he gave me. I'm bummed that he doesn't wear the hat in his videos, but if he starts wearing one of these hats after today, well, you'll know why. Before jumping into Bruce Rivers' statements, here's what we know about the high school stabbing. According to most reports, Carmelo Anthony, a student at Centennial High School, was sitting under the Memorial High School team tent when Austin Metcalf, a student from Memorial, approached him and asked him to leave. For some context, it's raining. The various schools at this track meet have big tents for their groups to hang out under and to stay dry. And in keeping with normal social cues, Anthony would not be under the Memorial tent. He'd be over in the Centennial tent or out in the rain getting wet. Would be a little bit like going into the other team's locker room to be under that tent. So when we say that Metcalf asked him to leave, you can assume that he didn't ask politely, but instead that he told him that he had to go. Or maybe he would make him. You know, a male human acting territorial. According to witness statements and police reports, an argument broke out during which Anthony allegedly warned Metcalf by saying, "Touch me and see what happens," while reaching into his backpack. And then moments later, Metcalf reportedly did touch Anthony, reportedly grabbing him, and in response, Anthony pulled out a knife and stabbed him once in the chest. Anthony fled the scene shortly thereafter while emergency responders attempted to save Metcalf's life. He was transported to a nearby hospital but was pronounced dead soon after arrival. The scene is so pathetic. Metcalf died in the presence of his twin brother and perhaps other loved ones. And now he's gone. He's gone forever. Just to be clear, this is an argument over whether someone could hide out from the rain at a track meet under the tent of a rival school. Now, in his first video covering this case, Bruce Rivers makes a strong claim that the person who closes the gap is the one that loses the legal fight. Rivers states that Metcalf shouldn't have tried to kick Carmelo Anthony out of the tent and instead should have sought a teacher or security guard. Now, this is actually spot on. It might have been insulting or rude or even bothersome for Anthony to be under the wrong team's tent, but he did not present a physical threat to the people there, according to the police reports that we have. So for that reason, the act by Metcalf, which I suppose is alleged at this point since we don't have the actual facts on it, hasn't been to trial, but the act of Metcalf to attempt to lay hands on Anthony, to physically remove him from the tent, that's a battery. It's illegal. Metcalf does not have the right to touch Anthony, not legally, or even to threaten to touch him in any way in order to get him out of the tent. And so Anthony has the right to fight back if he's being touched in a way that's illegal. But his response must be proportional. It must be reasonable. And certainly Bruce talks about this principle at length. What is reasonable? Well, it's not reasonable to stab someone who is not stabbing or attempting to stab you. It's not reasonable to shoot someone who's not threatening to shoot you. If someone is punching you, it would be reasonable to punch them, but it is unreasonable and therefore illegal to escalate a physical altercation, even if the other person started it, even if what they did was wrong. And so you can be very certain that Anthony's escalation, which was intentional, even if the killing was not intentional, is definitely a crime. The next statement Bruce Rivers makes regarding the Frisco stabbing is that the victim's father had every right to be at the Anthony family press conference and his presence was not intimidation. Now, by definition, a press conference that's held in public is open to the public. The victim's father had every legal right to attend the press conference of the family of the perpetrator. Now, having a legal right to do something is not the same as it is to say that it's wise to be there. And if his physical presence was somehow intimidating to the family of the criminal defendant, that's their problem. He has a right to be in public if he's not actually threatening anyone. And it doesn't appear that he was threatening. I mean, in interviews, the father of the victim has seemed remarkably composed and conciliatory. But it's really not a good idea in this situation to put yourself in physical proximity with the family on the other side of this violent tragedy. I mean, if they don't want you there. In more recent news, Carmelo Anthony's bail was reduced from $1 million to $250,000. In response to this update, Bruce Rivers appeared to be in agreement with the reduction. He states that the defendant has no criminal history, he was not the initial instigator in the confrontation, and that this was an isolated incident. And those are all good points. Bruce is, once again, spot on in this regard. $1 million is patently absurd for a child who is not a flight risk, regardless of the severity of the crime that he committed, if he doesn't have a prior criminal record. The defendant did flee the scene, but also once he was apprehended, he confessed that he was the person who took the life of the victim. But he's a minor, and it seems unlikely that $1 million bond is appropriate for him, notwithstanding the fact that the loss of life is just so terribly tragic. When it comes to one of the most controversial factors of this case, Anthony's assertion of self-defense, Rivers states that whether or not this defense works will come down to whether Anthony's response was reasonable or not. This is 100% correct, and based on everything that we know at this time, the use of a knife as an offensive weapon in the altercation under the tent was completely unreasonable. Now, we're 4 statements into this video, and you're staring at me thinking,
Josh, you said you agreed and disagreed with CLR Bruce Rivers, but all you've done so far is agree.
And that's because Bruce is a great lawyer and he knows his stuff. So I don't disagree with like 90% of what he's stated in his videos. Except there is this one thing. Rivers believes that it is unlikely for Carmelo Anthony to get a self-defense jury instruction from the court at trial. And just so we're all on the same page here, the way that self-defense works is that you must concede that you're the killer and that there were circumstances which justified your use of deadly force, namely a reasonable belief that your life was in danger. And that's not happening. Metcalf had no weapon. He did not threaten Anthony's life. He was just prepared to illegally use illegal force to physically remove Anthony from the tent. But illegal force and deadly force are not the same thing. Anthony does not have a right to escalate the force just because he's being humiliated by being touched. But here's the thing. I don't think it's unlikely for Anthony to receive a self-defense instruction. Bruce says it's unlikely that he gets instruction. I totally disagree. I think instead it is impossible. I cannot imagine a scenario in which Anthony is going to succeed in getting the trial court to give a jury instruction of self-defense. He's not going to ever be able to elicit any reliable facts that he reasonably believed that his life was in danger before deploying deadly force. 2 stupid male egos clashed under a tent, and one of them was armed with a deadly weapon and one wasn't. It wasn't self-defense. It was pride. Not only do I not think Carmelo Anthony will receive a self-defense instruction, but I also don't think he will ever go to trial. Anthony is going to plead guilty to a lesser murder charge. This is so classically not a first-degree murder charge in that it was not premeditated. He didn't go to the track meet with the intent to kill someone. The facts are going to bear out this conclusion. There was a physical altercation, and in the heat of the moment, because of his pride and this insult and this dispute and this fight, Anthony escalated the amount of force between the 2 people. Look, that's not first-degree murder, and the prosecutor knows this. But Anthony 100% killed this aggressive male, Metcalf, without legal justification and with very little actual provocation. And rather than go to trial and get like a maximum number of years that he could get if he failed to take responsibility for his actions, his lawyers will make sure that he understands that his best interests are served in taking a plea that is like a real prison sentence, but not the rest of his entire life. Remember, he is so young. And you might think I'm speculating about what will happen, and maybe you're right. I mean, no one actually knows the future, but I am willing right now to personally guarantee that this guilty plea that I've described, this will be the outcome of this case. Maybe you don't agree with me. Drop your pro se opinion down below in the comments and let me know what's on your mind. I want to know your thoughts on Carmelo Anthony's charges and whether he'll actually make it to trial. So let me know what you're thinking. Don't forget to lawyer up with America's Attorney and subscribe. I'll be back soon with more legal breakdowns, and you don't want to miss it. I will see ya.